So I have, with a little bit of trouble, have successfully pulled all the anomalies. So if you have questions, we can go look at the source code now and kind of take a look at it. So, questions. Jack.
Small.bin.
It's redacted.
It's redacted.
Goodbye.
Yep. Not on the table.
Will that come out at some point in the future?
We don't know.
That will almost certainly
Next
appear
question, yes.
at another competition.
The question mark.
The question mark.
Yeah, that one's not in Git.
That one's that. Yeah. Go ahead, Logan.
That one was a Word document that I threw up on the internet a while ago so that web browsers would find it. And then I gave it to you, and I said, go find it. And it was only in 2 places. It was really just a test of your Google foo. How well can you search for files containing specific things?
Sure. Yes.
Time capsule?
Time capsule. All right. Now this one we can take a look at.
I wrote time capsule for the record. Time cap. Oh.
Yeah, I found an email address for someone in Denmark who I think wrote a portion of it. Like, I don't.
Incorrect.
Nope.
Last competition,
this
and
is-
I'm not Danish.
This is all of the source code, so there's not much to it.
That's the entire program. The trick with this is you had to find the magic -s argument to feed it, and that acted as a seed for SRAM, I believe. So
Yeah.
somebody who can actually see the screen should verify.
Yep,
And
yep.
then it would run it, and since it's PRNG and runs off of a fixed system from any given point in time, you will always get the same result if you use the same magic number. So however you choose to pull the magic number out. You can see up there the time string is 15557520000, which is a Unix timestamp.
All right.
Unix timestamp.
Questions.
Can you go over the bank GUI?
The bank GUI. Yes, that's my favorite one.
That's
So
Ruby's.
yeah, this is mine. I wrote this yesterday. So this is the bank GUI here. It was written in 9C, which coincidentally is also what the bank itself is written in. Made it convenient for using the same functions again. So this is it running. It uses libdraw. You can build this completely under the same program that you all probably had to deal with bank to know the Plan 9 port. Just build under Plan 9 port. The trick was you needed a X11 server to use it, and then you need to also have access to the actual bank FS itself. And so this is a cute little program, and you can kind of just like draw little banks. I thought it was fun. I wanted you guys to take a look at it, so I threw it up on the anomalies. Unfortunately, I tried to make it hard and said the trick with it was I'm gonna pull up the source code. The trick was I didn't ship the bank FS header for you, and that's not open source yet. So what you had to do.
It is actually.
Oh, it is.
If you're in the IRC, you looked at the IRC log. I did post a tarball of the bank FS source.
Oops, they're not HubFS. I want to look at HubFS.
But that's only if you're in the IRC.
Yes.
Or looked at the log pattern.
So if we look here, I have this thing. This is obviously not going to work on any other person. Like this file doesn't exist anywhere else. So there are these structs here, these stat structs, that you could just define, and then it would compile just fine. So you just had to create a stat, or you just change it. You just had to give it an account and a transactions, and then it works perfectly fine.
You just need to provide the struct definition.
Yeah, you had to define the struct definition in something, and then also provide NDB files for it to read from. So not too bad. Pretty, just some 9C stuff. Questions about that, or questions about other anomalies? Yes.
How many people installed Arch?
Oh, that's a good question. How many people did install
We
Arch?
do not.
Oh yeah, we can't. I can't
will
do
tell
that.
you.
Yeah,
Don't
he'll
do
look
that.
at that. Yeah, I can't do that.
I think it was like 6.
2, 3, 4. We had 5 people submit that they installed Arch.
Was it submitted?
And we're given any points, I think.
No, that
I was the one who
graded.
graded them, and I think I only found 2 or 3 of them that actually functioned. The rest just ignored SSH connections or didn't respond to even a ping. So,
Yeah. Java junk.
Java junk. Okay,
Cool.
so
Pass the part where it's like the certificate.
Yeah, so Java Junk was a jar file that I gave you that had 2 classes. You decompile it, flip 1 bit in the source code, recompile it, run it, and it spits out, I believe, C. You run that, you get, I forget the order.
Python.
Was
bunch
it
of
Python
languages.
next? Actually, I think I have it written down here.
It's like a Troshka doll.
Yeah, it went
Languages.
Python, which spat out JSON Web Token, which had C inside of it, which spat out a PEM certificate, which if you decoded the PEM, you got hex dump, which if you undid that, you got PowerShell file, which had base64 encoded Arnold C inside of it. So then you had to go find an Arnold C interpreter, run some Arnold C, and at that point, you got the flag, which I believe was Terminator v. RoboCop.
Did anyone get that?
Yes.
All right.
The very proud men in the second row there.
So, all right. Oh.
More questions. Raise
Questions.
your hands, nice and high.
Yeah.
Again.
Paradiso.
Oh, Paradiso. Technically for the community college CDC, though no one got it there. Paradiso was a Inferno, well, a DIS there's a VM called
Oh, that's
DIS,
not what I want.
DIS, that's technically meant for the Inferno OS. There's a few others floating around, and it's a Limbo program which builds to DIS bytecode. And if you look at it, it uses some channel logic, CSP, Communicating Sequential Processes by Hoare. It's a good book. It uses some channels and passes things around, but in a deterministic way. So if you find yourself a DIS VM to run it in, all you had to do was run it and it spat out the flag. And it assembled itself at runtime by pushing things through channels. So it uses channels and a few locks to make sure everything runs in the right order. Technically, if you felt really brave, you probably could have dumped it to a text file and maybe ran some hex dump on it and maybe found some pattern in it. But more than likely, you had to find a DIS VM. I don't know if that was in the hints. It's I think I shipped only the .dis file.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
so,
like-
there's a Python library you can use to to basically turn back to
Yes.
assembly code, but I couldn't find an emulator for it, so I
Yes.
just found there's one of the strings that you can tell the flag was in there, but it was in some weird order, so you have to assemble it.
Yes. Yeah, it's in a weird order because it uses channels to put everything. Yeah, it's goofy. The Python program you speak of, somebody actually found it C3, but they didn't get the right answer. Yeah. So that's what that was.
Anyone solve it this time?
Hmm?
Anyone solve it this time?
I don't know. Did scoreboard somebody?
Well, if not, you just gave away the answer, so I sure hope so.
I mean, I can make a better one. I'm pretty sure someone got it.
Jack did. Jack did.
Oh, Jack did?
Jack did.
Hi, Jack. Good job.
I have 7 teams submitted it, although I don't know how many of those got points.
Lots of those were not right. I grade a lot of those ones.
Yeah, there were some red herrings in it.
That team got nothing.
At least one team got it. If
Yes.
you, was the file extension .dis? Somebody confirm?
Yes, it is.
If you search dis VM, you get, I think, an Inferno paper, and maybe even the Bitbucket repository that has the Inferno virtual machine in it.
Yeah, it was just literally couldn't compile it. So.
Oh, yeah, it's a little goofy. It's a little goofy. I have my own fork just because it's hard to compile.
Yeah, it was very hard to compile.
I'm sorry.
It's also massive.
Yes.
More questions? Anyone about any other anomalies? Yes.
Get the JavaScript thing. I don't know.
Oh yeah, I know that.
Oh, hold on, let's see. Let me pull it up for prosperity. I'm not gonna. I do not have a web browser open. It eats too much battery, Logan. Okay. What's that? Is that in here?
It's the MA.
No, that's Matryoshka. It's what? Found file. I see.
It's named found file.
Okay.
2 teams submitted it, it looks like.
Hold up, Moody.
What?
No points.
Nobody solved it.
Yeah.
Close it.
Sorry.
Oh,
I had no idea.
Close it, Moody. Get
all right,
out.
we're done.
Get out.
Nope, no more.
Reduce, reuse, recycle that one.
Yup.
How are you supposed to solve it?
You can find out next comp.
Oh,
Yes.
for those of us who are graduating, how does it?
You can find out the live stream of next comp.
Or become red team or something if you get a
Yeah.
job in security. Good. Become a sponsor. Get your company to sponsor us. Or maybe if you are graduating and you promise not to share, if you ask very, very nicely, we might be able to be enticed.
Other questions? Any other questions about any of the other?
Are you planning on making these available?
The
Once
one.
they get solved, will get posted eventually.
Yep.
There will be a email after all of this, and there will be a bunch of things in that. One of the things we will distribute afterwards is probably a tarball of stuff for you to look at. Lots of source code. More anomaly related questions.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Canvas.
Canvas.
Sorry, I have headphones on. I'm listening to this like 5 seconds.
Go Daniel, Canvas.
All right. So the Canvas one was it's a library. Well, not a library, but it's basically a simulator for Canvas. There were 2 panels. One of them was like actual instrument clusters, so like your dashboard. It had things like turn signals, your RPMs, unlocking the door, stuff like that. And then you also had the control panel. That control panel, it's kind of weird. It's like a PlayStation controller, but that allows you to essentially move the car or interact with the car. So the point behind this was you want to reverse engineer the arbitration ID, which is essentially what that CAN frame handles. And so I was tasking you guys with figuring out the arbitration ID for, I think, the right turn signal, or one of the turn signals. That arbitration ID deals with left, right, and both of them. So the way you solve it is all of this traffic, this CAN traffic, is being virtualized and put on a network interface. You probably set that up according to the README, which was called vCAN0. And so if you sniff that interface, it's all realistic, somewhat realistic CAN traffic going over that. There is a library called CAN-utils or CAN-utils that includes a number of different utilities that you can use to help you parse through and understand what's going on, essentially sniff CAN. And so I don't have my laptop with me, otherwise I would show you, but they're in CAN-utils or something called CAN-sniffer. CAN-sniffer allows you to see just the bytes that are changing within the CAN frames. And so there's multiple ways you can go about solving it. One of them is to just look at it visually, since in the simulator there's not a lot of different IDs. In a real car, there's a lot more going on, so it's harder to tell. But you could have just looked at, in one terminal window, CAN-sniffer with all the values changing, and there's a flag where you can colorize. You can see it really easily, exactly what's changing. So if you're playing with the turn signals in the control panel, you can see the bits flipping as you turn the turn signals on and off. Another way, somebody mentioned they did this, and they did it a very good way. In fact, when car researchers do this in real life and they want to reverse engineer the arbitration IDs, they do kind of like a binary search tactic, and that is they use CAN-utils to record some of the traffic, and then they play it back, and they see if the action has occurred on the car. And then what they do is they cut that in half, and they play the first half back. And if it's in that first half, the like say turn signal, then they'll just keep cutting that half in half, in half, in half until they're left with one frame. And that one frame contains the arbitration ID for the control of the car, as well as the byte that is used to say turn the left turn signal or turn the right turn signal. So that's another way of doing it. It takes longer, but it's a proven way to get down to the exact CAN frame to control the car. So the answer to that was 556 was the arbitration ID, and several teams did get it right. So good job, guys. Does that answer the question on that one? Anything else on the CAN bus? CAN bus is cool. It's used in cars and tractors and all that, fun vehicles and stuff. And if you're at ISU, I will be giving a talk on Tuesday about vehicle security, and I'm going to go in depth on that. So we'll try to get that up on our YouTube channel as well. Yeah.
Any other kind of any other anomaly questions? All right. Cool. Well,
Red. Okay.
let's just swap the seats here.
Yep.
All right. So, red team, we were the wonderful people making your lives suck and stealing all your flags. So as I go through this, if you have any questions, just stick your hand up, let me know, get my attention, try to answer them. All right, the first and most common thing that always shows up every competition ever, default creds. Root CDC is fantastic and makes red team's life really easy. However, you should maybe consider changing it next time. There were a lot of flags that we got, and the capture note was nothing except for root CDC because that's exactly all they needed. Package audits. Anyone who was dealing with the web app probably found this first one, IP Serializer, which is a nice node module that I wrote that just causes your app to crash it if you try to put it behind a firewall. So the lesson there is look at the modules in your code. Not everything installed is going to be secure. Just because you downloaded it from the internet doesn't mean it's good. Second is system utility audits. Like, I don't know, SSH. How many of you thought to check the sums of SSHD running on your boxes? Yeah? Okay, we got 2 or 3 teams. The rest of you who didn't might have found out that roughly half of your boxes were running what is called very open SSH, which is kind of like open SSH, except extra open. Very open SSH has some fun features like allowing a root to log in with no password no matter what, letting certain passwords just always let you in. Lots of little fun things that just make getting into the box easier. So the lesson there is there are nice utilities on pretty much every Linux distro that will just check the sum of your things, and I've clicked the button by accident. But yes, use them. The next one.
I was gonna say one thing other on if any of you on the FreeBSD box, did anyone find my malicious package config, the PKG config? No one. So there was a malicious PKG config that if you tried to reinstall OpenSSH, it used a rendered variant on the server itself in a local file that would just install again. So if you, so if you tried to install the very,
Found the repercussions of it, but I didn't find the actual package config.
yeah, it's kind of fun. FreeBSD repos or package repos are a lot of fun. You can do lots of fun things with them. So yeah, that was that.
All right, so the next thing that I already clicked to, sticky keys.
Real quick, you actually skipped a slide in between.
Did I? I did. This one is my favorite one too. So some of you may have caught, and some of you didn't, that there was a nice one-line function in your JavaScript web app code that if the search function couldn't find a result, just piped the search into the command line. Which meant that if you searched for like admin or login, you got a login page. But if you searched for, I don't know, cat Etsy shadow, you get this. Thank you to one of the teams for donating their password hashes. Okay, I typoed. I'm sorry. I'll fix it before I publish this. But yes, there was arbitrary command injection in there. Another thing in the web app that I didn't get a screenshot of, the comment section of your web app was a fantastic place to just arbitrarily read and write values in and out of your Aerospike databases. Some of you may have noticed that there was a route parameter, like for slash, by default I think it was slash comments and slash propaganda after about, that told it what set to load from. If you just said I want to go to about/users, it would just dump your users database. Or if you went to about/flag, a lot of you lost your flags to that because it just dumps the database flag. Sticky keys. For those of you who don't know, Sticky Keys is a system utility built into Windows as part of their accessibility suite, and I don't know what its real purpose is. All it ever does is annoy me. However, Sticky Keys, because it's part of the accessibility suite, does not require you to be logged in to run it. All you have to do is hit the Shift key 5 times, and you get Sticky Keys. You can, however, replace the Sticky Key binary with cmd.exe. And if you run that without being logged in, it runs as NT Authority System. You know, the Windows equivalent of the kernel. This is bad. Red Team added themselves a number of accounts using this. If your box has an account named Taco on it, you can thank Red Team. Yes, this is how we stole a lot of Windows flags.
Even if we didn't add an account, we didn't need to. We were system. We could read every file on the system.
Yes. SSH keys. Not many of you caught this. I left an SSH key on your web app box when I built it, and possibly your databases. I don't remember. But if you went to root/ssh/authorized keys, this would have been in your key file. If you notice at the end of this public key, it says Woolery at iScoreDev. None of you are Woolery, and I doubt any of you have systems named iScoreDev. Clearly, this is not your key. You should have deleted this. This would let anyone log in over SSH as root, which is, again, very fun.
Question?
Yeah, I had a quick question about the sticky keys.
Yeah.
If you disabled CMD with the NT authority, still be able to spawn it?
If you disabled CMD...
It's about the name of the binary.
If you disabled the binary.
Yeah, so
It's a copy.
what you do is you copy cmd.exe to Sticky Keys binary name, which is SL something or other that I forget, which means that as far as Windows knows, that is Sticky Keys, but when you run it, you get a shell. Disabling the normal cmd.exe won't stop that. Can you... I'm sorry, I'm a little deaf today. So, because it's a Windows system, you RDP in, and you get a nice screen, and you go shift, 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 and it spawns you a shell.
Can you repeat the question?
He asked how you would do that if you weren't logged in.
You can't use Windows Remote Desktop for it because Windows Remote Desktop requires a username and password to even start connecting.
Oh yeah,
But
that's
some
right.
of the Linux utilities just
Yeah.
connect without doing it, and then that's when you get your window that looks like you're at the box.
All right, now I'll let the madman who wrote this speak about it.
All right, kind of feel like an asshole coming up here to talk about this, but who saw this screen today? Not many. I know some people did because I have logs. Whatever. All right, so anyway, there were a number of teams affected by this. If you didn't see this screen, this is the ransomware web application that you can go to get your files back or your keys back. So this ransomware was built. Actually, it's been a year in the making, kind of. We were going to premiere it at the last Nationals. It was written in Python, and it was like a 20 megabyte binary. It was disgusting, and we're going to have it as like an upgrade to the Water HMI for the SCADA stuff. Anyway, it was rewritten in C, C++, and this was sitting in System 32. And some of you were wondering how this even got ran. It was used, Task Scheduler was running it, and the kind of mean thing about it was I figured out that you can export Task Scheduler inputs to it, and you can modify them to make it look like it was created by Microsoft. So when you re-imported it, it looks like it's a Microsoft task that was created by them. And so essentially every day at 11 a.m. it would reach out to my command and control server, and the command and control server would say, yes, it's time to run, or no, it's not. That way, if you guys had changed the time on me, I wouldn't check local system. So you would never be able to accidentally trigger this before 11 a.m. today. It would also check whenever someone logged in. Anyway, once it did run, all it did was encrypt the binary for the ATM application and then the source code, hence why I had you keep it in one specific place in the scenario doc. And when it did that, it would actually encrypt. I don't remember the exact encryption type I used on it, but all Windows libraries, very small, and I would send the encryption key to my command and control server. And if anybody actually went through with this, you would get your key back and you would be able to decrypt the files, but nobody opted to do that. So who was hit by this and had backup set up and was able to revert? Cool. Yes, that's what we wanted to see. So that's great. We wanted a method to stress the importance of backups, and ransomware is a very real world thing, as I'm sure you guys have heard. So we wanted to try and simulate that here. And so that's the whole story behind that. I do have some other slides here on it. But yeah, this is pretty much all the stuff I've already said. Yeah, and the mitigation was use backups. So cool.
All right. Now, do you have any questions for Red Team? We do have a couple of the Red Team members still in the house. I saw your hand first.
So within the web app under node modules, there are a few things in there, like there was a package entirely built to load a web shell, as well as another one made to view files that were on the system. Cloud Commander. Cloud Commander.
Yep.
Was that for use of the Red Team, or was that just there for package on it?
That was there because I tried to get that running simultaneously with your actual web app, and it just wasn't working very well. I don't know. I ran out of time to get that one working. But yes, you are correct. The idea was that would give you unrestricted access to view and modify files on the file system.
So for like the vector with the sticky keys, how would someone go about systematically preventing things like that?
Calculate the SHA sum of sticky keys and then go check it every time you install a Windows box, especially from us.
Defender might have caught that if you had it turned on as well.
Oh, yeah, Defender might just do that for you.
It's the same thing as any accessibility program.
Yes, in the purple.
Chris on databases 1 and 4.
Oh, yeah.
Moody, you want to talk about that one?
If there's a rule of thumb, if I usually touch a box, I add a Chris user. Just like, it just happens. The first thing I do if I'm ever given a box is like Etsy password is like the first thing you load up, and you load up and you go down until there's no, you don't hit the bottom of the text anymore. You don't, I know there's some fuzzy stuff with the spaces, but yeah, always audit your Etsy password all the time and make sure that even if you have valid users in there, that there are users that actually need to be connected. I think we had quite a few instances where we had people with users that didn't need to actually access the system. Yeah. Go ahead.
How did you get the users' passwords? Was it like, were you getting it from one team and then spreading it across any other team? Or?
That's how shared passwords spread, which is kind of the whole point. One team kind of lets everyone else down an hour into the competition. But that's why, admins don't have shared passwords. Then we use those as low privilege access to get onto your boxes and escalate to more interesting users.
How much automation did you deploy in the teams? Was there a whole lot of automation, or was it all?
Yeah, you automate the low-hanging fruit of the passwords.
CDC gets automated every time.
Multiple ways. What all did you guys gain from the fire drill?
Nothing. A change that was made recently as far as the rules of engagement, Red Team is no longer allowed to just go up and touch computers anymore. So fire drills at this point are really more of a chance for our wonderful, amazing sponsors to talk to you guys and make you stop touching things for 5 minutes so Red Team can not get whack-a-moled.
we will still penalize you. We do walk around and look for open consoles. We will still penalize you. We did have one team get penalized before, so you know it's still lock your stuff up. We just don't give Red free roam to kind of do whatever they want with the systems anymore. So
Looking, no touching.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. Looking, and also I think one team found a little fun thing that was left. Yep. Planting devices that you would not imagine how often you see people like administrators, you know, like open a broom closet and all of a sudden, whoops, there's a Raspberry Pi in there that no one knows how it got there. That happens a lot.
Yep. So
that's a pretty real world scenario, sniffing traffic and whatnot. Next time though, we won't have the room on live stream when you guys are.
Sorry to spook you.
Yeah.
What did the crisp bin file do on the VST?
Yeah. So this is okay. So did anyone find? Does anyone know why the CGI server was actually called Socket Mux? Yeah, it multiplexed sockets, and one of those sockets was just exec induct, which just opened up a shell, and so the crisp binary was actually a socket mux binary that I had just moved over and put on the Ubuntu boxes, put on the databases. I put it on the. It was also set up in /bin/crisp on the bank to node box. And I think on reboot it would copy over the CGI server. So that could be kind of a pain if you had patched that. It would just kind of overwrite it, and then you were kind of back to square one. So yeah. Yep.
Was that 99-legit.sh? Was that placed by you, or is that very open SSH?
99 dash.
There's a thing.
What was inside of that one? I'm pretty sure I wrote that, but
I think it piped in like basically you were able to like just push enter or anything. It had to do with I think very open SSH, so you really didn't need a password, and it broke a lot of logins. And
oh yes, yeah, that was a nice thing I left in Etsy profile.d, which, if you're wondering, is the directory that holds all of these scripts that get run before your interactive session gets launched. We don't log that.
It's hard to keep that up. The logs we would be filling the hard drive multiple times over the course of the competition.
Redirected to DevNull.
Pretty much. Yeah.
DevNull is a high throughput device.
Any other questions?
These guys couldn't find, and I couldn't read anything. What was it? The very open SSH that kept reading out the user password?
You can set banners in SSH. Even in normal SSH, you can set banners, and because of the run permissions that the SSHD daemon has, it can just read etc shadow and make that its banner. Which means if you just poke it and almost suggest SSH, it just says, "Here's Etsy Shadow. You're welcome."
For general Windows cleaning, how would you suggest going about that?
General Windows cleaning? I mean, yeah, it's Windows, so that's an hour-long presentation. But the basics that apply to Unix systems apply to Windows too. Check your users, check what's installed, check are you up to date, where are you getting your updates from. We didn't do it this time, but we have done in the past where evilwus.cdc.com comes out, which is an update server that we control, so we can decide what updates you get, and it conveniently never gives you the patch for Eternal Blue. So that's kind of the first couple things. Check user permissions, packages that are installed. Yes, group policy is your friend for this if you're in a domain environment.
Every config that applies to a system service, be it Unix or Windows, is always to be suspect at every single time. They should all be vetted. Certainly in the case of Windows Update package managers, or where package managers pull things from, traffic and trapping web traffic around things is also a really good way to find if something's like phoning home like ransomware.
Check for sticky keys too. That's an easy
Nope.
one.
Yes, sticky
That's
keys.
a classic.
And other accessibility stuff.
Yes.
Occasionally, depending on your Windows version, there are other tricks you can do with
Yeah.
accessibility stuff.
Magnifier can do the same thing.
In some of the dialog boxes for the options, you can actually click a link that takes you to control panel, and from there you've got a file browser.
Oh yeah, that's cool. Any more?
5 o'clock, so probably done with that.
Everyone want to see the awards?
What types of mail services were you able to get into?
Everyone I saw was running Exchange, but I didn't touch that many of the mailboxes.
Who didn't run Exchange? Raise your hand. Who didn't run Exchange? Thank you. There you go. There's your statistics.
There was an Exchange vulnerability that dropped like 5 days ago, where you can just escalate from Exchange to domain admin. So that did happen at least once in this competition. I know that happened. We did have someone get that working. It's a Metasploit module now, so it's just click and go. So.
Anything else?
Last chance, we're gonna move on to the awards.
Just move on, it's fine.
Alrighty, we're moving on. So I'm gonna unplug this. X out of that. Alright. Mr. Director Sean, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Alright. So, in third place, with 670 points, we have Team 4, NightSec. Oh, he's standing there.
Okay.
And in second place, with 699 points, Team 10, Malware's Waldo. And in first place, with 723 points, we have Team 1, the Chris Affiliates. William, can you take a picture for the website?
Oh, yeah, sure.
That'd be fantabulous, my friend.
All right, over here, gentlemen. There we go.
Chris has been Although I don't have an award, I do want to thank the 4 teams that actually managed to talk to BankFS. I think it's 4, 10, 18, and there might be one more of you floating around out there. Congratulations. No one else did. There were maybe a total of 8 teams that managed to even talk to it over the course of setup and the competition. I'm sorry that this happened to you, but thank you for humoring me in my little game and actually connecting to it.
I guess also.
Sorry?
All right.
So first of all, I want to thank you all for coming here. Some of you came much greater distances than others. I want to thank Florida for bringing at least some warm weather to Iowa. You're welcome to take cold weather back to you. So again, I want to thank the student team. They're really the ones that did all the work for this. This whole competition is student run, student led. They design the anomalies, they design the scenarios, they design pretty much everything. All I have to do is find the money and buy the food. And so without these people, we really couldn't do this. I also want to thank our sponsors. PwC came in force to be naughty in the red room, and we have other sponsors who are scrolling across the screen who give us money in order to have these events. First and foremost, I hope you had fun. And if you're able, I hope you come back next year. If you're fortunate enough to be towards the end of your college career, I wish you luck in your post-college career. Want to thank the red team. They have a lot of fun. And I want to thank all the advisors and faculty and who managed to get you all here. Again, if anybody has any questions, otherwise I'm going to turn it back over to somebody.
All right, so last little bit of housekeeping before we let you all go here. The cluster will be being shut down to be moved back to our lab this evening, so you will not be able to access any of your machines. Sometime next week you will receive an email with information about how to download those, where they'll be up for probably a week or two after that, at which point they will be deleted. So if you want them for any reason, get them. Additionally, if on your way out, you could pass through the TLA and just wrap up any cables, anything like that you guys used, and just toss them back in the bins. That saves us a huge amount of time and makes our life a lot easier. That said, I don't think... Oh,
We have t-shirts! I know, right? Sometimes we don't do t-shirts, but we have t-shirts. They are out back in the hallway back there, so I pulled all the carts out.
Alright, so somebody's, whoever
yeah.
appoints somebody.
Well, we'll figure it out, but they're out that way, in the hallway over there. So, we have a question.
Question.
My question is, along with getting to the end in a week or two, can we also get a list of the things wrong with them?
Yes.
Yes, I will publish the list, although it's not exhaustive, but the list of some of the vulnerabilities. You will also be able to, next week, once the server comes back online, see the Red Wiki on iScore, which is where Red kind of takes notes, jots things down as they hone your stuff. So you'll be able to look through that and kind of see what they were doing.
And the capture notes.
That's not a thing yet. Soon.
It was a long time. It was.
I don't think it.
No more.
It's broken apparently. It might. Who knows? You might be able to see the red flag capture notes. I don't know. It'll depend on if it ends up working or not. With that said, on that wonderful uncertain note, thank you all for coming. Have a safe trip back to wherever you're going.